All right, I can just give it a whirl. All right, everyone. Welcome to the Between You and I Bad Grammar podcast. This is episode 16. And today I have a friend with me, Julia Francis, who is a Northwest singer-songwriter. She has a new single out called When You Get What You Want. And she recorded that with producer Steve Fisk, who's done my last two records and I adore. Her voice, I want to say, is so powerful. I think she's been described as not only bluesy, but she also has like a diamond clear tone as well. And I find her very powerful. And I'm excited to have her with us because her and I have also worked together, me coaching her and talking about creativity and songwriting and just being human beings. And so I think today is going to be a fine conversation. If everyone if you want to subscribe to this podcast, that would be nifty. And Ryan and I are just going to have some fun today.
Exactly. Yeah. Should be good.
Nice. Should be good. Hey, everybody. So welcome to the podcast. I am here with my friend, Julia Francis, and I'm very excited. It took us a while, but we are here. And I really wanted to invite Julia on the podcast. We met through probably one of my first friends ever. You can correct me if I'm wrong. We met through my friend, Allie LaTorelle. Do you think that that's true, right?
That is absolutely true. Yeah.
Right? We got connected that way. And Allie was probably literally one of the first people I ever met and was one of my first friends. Just to concept time and just like, and it led to you and I meeting, which is, I think, nifty. I always like that kind of stuff. But then you as a singer songwriter and I very quickly just started powwowing on our thoughts about that art and the trials and tribulations and the good things and the bad things. And I feel like we hit it off like a spark, like, yeah, me too. And oh my God, all that stuff. And so, I think connections like that are really important to me because I've often said that I think when I was in the throes of doing music or bands, I was pretty isolated. One, by habit. I just was very lonerish, I think, as a kid, you know what I mean? Not because I'm so rebel or whatever, but just I was used to that. And so when I went and did music, you're kind of in bands, but I didn't talk to other musicians or females or have gal peers that I could talk to. And so I really cherish the people that I meet now in those conversations and the consequent friendships on a very, very authentic, real, for good reasons. And so you and I started talking more about songwriting and new work and you getting back into a new project and recording and your songs and all of that. And I just thought they were such great conversations that I wanted to talk with you about it here as well. But I first like to I just want to talk to you too about how you found music, when, if it's a kid or when you found music and what it meant to you and why. When did you start really going, you know what, I think I want to do this?
Well, the number one memory that I have is being in the woods, way up in the woods on a hill behind my house when I was probably about 8. And I could go up there and there was this path up this hill. And I could go up there by myself and be totally alone. And one day I came upon a dead bird on the path. And maybe it was my first real experience with death, but this really intense moment with this bird, and I started singing to it. And I felt like, number one, I had to go to the woods to sing because it didn't feel somehow safe to sing.
Yeah.
With witnesses. And then the act of singing to try to transmit love and grief and feeling to this other, being. That's always stuck with me.
That's deep.
Yeah.
I know, right?
That's past livey, born shaman 8-year-old. Am I saying
But
something?
totally. But like I grew up with a mother and a grandmother who sang in church choirs and conducted church choirs. And so there was already this language of pianos and organs and sheet music and
Okay.
choral pieces. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Cause I do think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, like you are very, I find your music and your artistry to be very deep earth, female, earth mama, bluesy, purposeful storytelling and healing practice. Do you think that's true? Like that's how I perceive you. Does that
I
ring
love
true?
that. It does. I mean, that's sort of my aim. And I think really, even though I took basically 10 years off from making music to have a kid and do other things I needed to do, the experience of having a child, giving birth, working with breath, inhabiting my body in a totally different way, where like something else sort of took over my body, and having that experience of being a channel, literally,
Yeah.
totally influenced my music. And I do feel a groundedness that I did not feel before I had my kid.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, this is what I think about the getting older means more experiences, means deeper.
Yes.
I mean, I think you're probably telling stories now from experience that are deeper. Because those are really big moments, like to become a mother, right? Or to have someone pass. Those are carve you out experiences, and beautiful ones, right? To get to be a mother, to pass through life and have these experiences, but then to share it back, like especially with this new work, I feel like you are with a clarity sharing it back with a sense of purpose that is very like what you want to say.
Yeah. And I think that the way to deliver the music, because my path in the last few years has been building a band and creating the sound of this band that is very, like, some people compare it to the Full Tilt Boogie Band, or like it's classic 70s psychedelic rock, whatever. Like my songs and the lyrics and the stories of my songs are, like you said, kind of like about deep stuff and kind of not super fun and like sexy and party flirty.
Yeah.
But being able to deliver those messages through music that inhabits your whole body and it allows me to shriek and shake it and do all that stuff feels like an amazing balance that I love.
Yeah. Well, and I find voice, tone, sound healing. And how lucky are you that you can do that and you could utilize it and then use the art form for healing. Like I have a deeper gratitude for the artistry of storytelling with purpose and singing, right? Because it's the tone itself will heal people. And I think when someone knows that and then they're authentically saying, I have this to share, is really powerful. And I'm hoping, like, I really want in the future to gather musicians and create a concert environment that is very obviously there. Like people would show up very obviously to be like, I am here. I need to see singer-songwriters and hear stories and be healed. Like, I feel like when there was Joni Mitchell or Janis Joplin or Bob Dylan or all these people, like, I felt maybe this is what I think anyways, people were living with that music and those stories and they were telling the times that people were going through and stories, like it was a big part of their lives, integrated with like just everyday someone's life, right? Like, and they would turn and respect an artist or see an artist and say, oh, they're singing my life or things like that. And I feel like I would like to return to that or find the audiences that understand that and then can really enjoy the storytelling or the artists themselves saying, oh, this artist tells these kind of stories. I need that. I want to go see that. And create an environment so that people know that's what you're coming for. and you're the kind of, you folks who want to see that and experience that. Maybe selfishly, I want that.
Well, you do that very brilliantly.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Well, it's like being a mirror, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I love that song by The Velvet Underground, I'll Be Your Mirror. I've always wanted to cover that song. But that's the idea. It's like if we have the courage to like stand up there on our, just stand grounded in who we are and share our true experience, then it totally resonates with other people.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But you have to be brave enough to show it.
Yeah. Well, and recently with the new work you've done, like you and I have had conversations about bravery and coming back to it. Can you speak a little bit to like, you took a very purposeful hiatus, right? And then you were like, I'm ready to make music again. Did it feel like it took courage? Like, what was that like for you?
Yeah, I didn't think about it. I thought about it like I have to rein in my expectations because, in different chapters of my life, I've reached certain milestones in the Seattle art community that I'm like, oh, I'm this, and I wouldn't go do that because I'm this, whatever, right? Everybody has their own versions of that. And so when I came back, I was like, well, I can't just go start singing in Seattle. So I started going to this like seedy blues club in Tacoma called Dawson's Seedy. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like, it's a blue collar bar that has a jam, all kinds of jams, whatever. Yeah. And I had to go there for a while and like literally get back in my body where I knew nobody would know me.
Ooh, yeah.
And I was like just focused on, and that felt great. I was like, I got up and I did a song tonight. I'm so proud of myself. And so it was like super, super low expectations, and then and then it was just people. The magic is like the people, like I would meet someone and they would reflect back to me and I would reflect to them. And then we'd say, let's play together. And then somebody else would join us and suddenly in a band. And, it's like the collection of all those things coming together is what, in my experience, has created the most momentum,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it's really smart to to give yourself privacy to get back into it, or a private spot to say, before I push myself in front of more in all these directions, just to go be alone and solidify for yourself, singing and how you feel about it. I think it's a really smart move, as opposed to right away just shoving yourself out there. Like, you need private time to say like to enjoy it or answer for yourself what you think. And that's part of the fun too. And that fun can go away, I think, when people push too hard or think they got to go, get in front of people or faster than they think, or they think they're missing out on something, or I got to right away get in the scene. And, my current feeling, but this is probably at my where I am in life too. My idea of a scene is scenes aren't as important to me.
What kind of scene? Yeah, that's a question I keep asking. Yeah.
Well, the scene, I think, is when I say scene, I say, quote unquote scene, that's a younger stage where it's all more about being cool and all of that. And I just don't care.
Which makes you more cool by not caring.
Which does it? Does it make me more cool? All right, on. I thought it just made me older. I think the first time I don't even know if we met at this thing. The first time I saw you in person was this podcast performance that you took part in with Shelby Earle and half of that amazing band. Help me, in Portland. Joy Pearson.
Yeah, Joy Pearson.
Lenore. Yeah.
Oh my God, I love Lenore.
Oh, they're so good.
So, and I was just so like, I like read ahead of times, like, Carrie took 10 years off to his back their music. I was like, what? Huh? That sounds like me. There's sort of like similarity. And I showed up and these super powerful mothers making incredible music with this audience that was, totally a different scene, but a super powerful scene. It was just like, it meant the world to me. It was very inspiring. And
that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, because it's, I remember like when I was, say it was around 95, I was 25 then. I can't remember, how old was I? And I remember hipsters or dudes being like, "Oh, Carrie's the kind of girl who wants to get married and have kids." And I was like, "What's wrong with that? Like, sorry, is that not cool?" Like, like, and then recently, like, I've had great conversations with other women who are younger than me, who are coming into that time in their life in their 30s or whatever, where that becomes a question, yes or no, of like, are you going to make family? Are you going to, what do you want? Like, that's a pretty natural question. Not everybody's having kids. And I think that's great. That's fine. But it's to degrade it made me mad, I guess. It was like, yeah, I want family. I'm sorry. Is that not cool? Like, and so,
there's a lot of rage behind that, dude.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, it keeps the perception of you so shallow. Like scenes and younger moments or frames of mind like that don't see you in any depth, I think, at all, which is a shame because depth is really interesting. Also, life is long. And so whoever is criticizing at the young age certainly isn't going to be there to help you later. So you really got to toss that aside and tend to your life and honor it and all those kind of things too. But I think, I'm like, yeah, you go have a kid. You pay attention, you chose to have a kid, go pay attention. It's a beautiful thing, right? 10 years. I mean, think about it. Patti Smith took 35 years off.
Thank you. I like to hear that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it can feel like it at the time because I remember like I went from being probably single and a band and all of this to like married with a kid. And then I was just like, whoa, fast. Like, yeah. And it was all of a sudden doing dishes going, what? Like I found myself one day, like at the sink doing dishes, living a completely different life, tending to others. Whereas I had only been tending to myself up until about 40, right? Like I didn't have my son until I was 41. And so it was a shocker for me. And I don't know that I didn't quite figure it out that fast either. I was like, why am I slightly depressed? What's happening?
Slightly.
Slightly depressed and diving into wine. Yes. Yeah. Which happens a lot. Yeah. Yeah. No one could. I always tell people, I have had friends at certain times where they were like on the cusp about having kids. And I was like, ooh, I could talk you into that and I could talk you out of that.
Go either way. Let's be honest.
It's okay.
But one of the things that I have really embraced through different work, including awesome therapy work, is moms naturally feel resentful of their children. And it's okay to feel that way. And we just need to find the healthy outlet for addressing it as opposed to, pushing it down or all the microaggressions that we can put out at our kids or at ourselves for it, And it's like our society certainly doesn't, we're just supposed to shut up and do it, right? Take care of everything and not complain.
Let's just be perfect all the time, which is not possible.
No. Yeah, there is the real risk of perfectionism. I recently read a book called Why We Can't Sleep, and it is written for Gen X women, and it was revelatory because it explained a lot of the things I'd been doing to myself. Like, you grew up being told everything was possible, so you were trying to do everything. Mm-hmm. Which is not possible. And I was like, oh, that explains a lot.
Yep.
Oh, Care Bear, why are you like my mom used to say, I would call her when we lived in Minneapolis, I would call her and, be angst ridden around music or just tired and Orion, my son, was 3, right? And I had a full-time corporate job and was married. It was just ridiculous. And still yet contemplating music, like, how am I going to fit it in? And I was like, Mom, how did you do it with 2 kids being a single mother? And she was like, I didn't have this art struggle you have. She was like, she was like, I had a routine and I was happy. And I was like, okay, you're going to be of no help. All right.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. It's good you were happy with it.
Well, I was like, I love you. But I also was disappointed. Like, where's my mentor? Where's my music partners? And again, that's why I'm really cherishing these friendships and conversations because I understand feeling alone with all the quandary going, what is happening? Why do I feel this way? And I've learned that I was like, a lot of it's on me. If you want to make, if you want to make friends, you got to make an effort. And so I probably for the last 15 years been just triple time more active, trying, or asking, like if I knew someone, like reaching out and saying, hey, what do you think? And, that doesn't mean there's best friends made every time, but I think it's important to try or offer or share. Not everybody's going to be best friends, but trying.
Gotta keep putting it out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I was going to, if it's okay, I want to talk about when you went into the new recording. Talk to me about your band. So you've been with your bandmates for a long time. And then going into recording, what's that relationship feel like? Because that's a good thing. Like, so one of the things I really like about recording is your bandmates. And when you've been with bandmates for a while, you got like a language going on. I mean, bands have struggles as well, but it could be a great thing. How did you feel going into recording?
It was like I totally trusted the people implicitly. Mm-hmm. We had minimal rehearsal for a lot of crazy reasons. This is before coronavirus and the new revolution and everything. But it was just like, okay, we haven't figured out every last thing, but what we do when we're live is like totally magic. It's in the pocket and everybody really gets off on playing with each other. So, I asked Steve Fisk, my producer, to, set us up so that we could all record. We were all like in the same room. I was in the recording booth where I could see, and we could all like play at the same time. And that was great. It was a great experience. It was like we did the songs in single takes, right? And we went back and did some little like guitar extra things here and there. But for the most part, everything was done in one take, single takes. I shouldn't say one take, but, a couple takes, but full takes were used. So
there is something amazing about being all in the same room together. Had you guys recorded differently prior to that? Was it new to be all together?
I hadn't put out a recording in 12 years. And my previous two albums that I put out, I didn't have a band for either of those. I brought in studio musicians. So it was a totally different experience. Everything was done separately. And I think I prefer, doing it with everybody. That it's having such incredible musicians to play with, I'm so grateful.
Isn't it yummy? Like you got to have, there's like all that stuff that is some of the best about doing music. You're right. Is collaborating and getting to be with amazing musicians. Like it's one of my favorite things about it.
And it's tricky. It's like you were talking about reaching out to fellow women. It's the same with the band. It's like, I couldn't call these people up out of the blue after 10 years off and be like, hey, I'd like you to join my band. And they'd be like, sure. Like I had no confidence. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I had to get myself to a certain point where I had, I could say, this is my project and I want to bring you into it. And and then they showed up effortlessly, right? Once I got to the point that I knew what I wanted and that I was comfortable with being in control of it, and thankfully also, working with you, right? It was, I was so grateful to engage with you in your creative coaching. And, I asked you to, support me for a couple months before that release. Cause I was like, I want to make sure that I'm being really intentional with my decisions and making them for the right reasons. And it was extremely helpful to, touch base with you and say like, I have this little part of me doesn't feel good about this thing. Right. I probably should ignore it. And you're like, what are you talking about? Listen to that, like, okay, maybe I should listen to that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's such my honor and pleasure to be of any help. Again, just having been alone for so long, it's so nice to be able to share. If something is helpful, it's an absolute pleasure for me. So, I mean, you gift me with asking me to do that. And so it means I don't get to be alone, right? I get to share and support it selfishly, kind of in a way that I would want to be supported. Right.
No, it felt, that's cool. It felt very symbiotic, like clearly we're both getting something out of it. And the more that I could like reveal myself, the more it could, inspire you or whatever.
Yeah.
I so appreciate a lot of support and guidance from you around making time to just have that creative gestation space, right? We're like, go to your basement and open a book you like and read it and do nothing else for a while. Or, what are the practices where you make time to let new things come in and don't treat it like, it's just maybe an extra credit thing if you finish everything else on your list. Actually, it should probably be number 2 or 3 on the list.
Exactly.
If you're an artist.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can have all these expectations about how you ought to be functioning. I should be producing a song every day. Like, I had to really put down my personal criticism on myself. Like, you don't write every day. And I'm like, I don't. Mm-hmm. Like, that's how I work. I periodically deluge a bunch of thoughts and stories or something. It used to be breakups. I'd have a breakup and there'd be a whole record written. And that's how I function. I mean, I may push that a little bit, but I don't think pushing in the name of, if you're unhappy because it's not right, you know what I mean? And what's the like goal line we're trying to hit? Where do we got to get to so fast? You know what I mean? Music's the rest of your life. It's yours. And I'm just a firm believer, like, you can do it any goddamn way you want to do it. Like, and the farce is that is to push and find out you got nowhere anyway. You know what I mean? Because we aren't in control of later. You can do what you think is all the right things, but whether or not anyone listens or radio stations like you or any of that, often you're just not in control, and that's okay. It's better to lovingly know the truth and have a good time from the start for yourself, so that if those other things don't happen, you're not unhappy. You have what you needed. And
I think that for the most part, art is about evolution, transformation, and most artists don't stay the same throughout their career, right? They constantly change. You got to be like open to, and I don't know about you, but I'm at this moment right now where I've spent the last 2 years training myself to shine brightly no matter what, and trust that it's safe and it's okay to shine brightly. And now I'm like, holy shit. I can't go down to the Chaz, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone on Capitol Hill, in the midst of this, I'm calling a revolution that's happening in our country. I can't go down there and get on the mic and sing and offer my services at this time in this moment. I have to listen and I have to support my Black brothers and sisters. And so aside from listening, supporting, donating, doing all the things that we can actively do to help them, what am I supposed to do? And I don't know about you. I'm really struggling with this at the moment. Like, suddenly I'm like, everything I just built feels like it went out the window. And then I go, well, that's a privileged first world problem for me to have. That sucks. But now what, right? It's like, okay, well, I don't know what. Actually, I don't know. I don't know how the hell I'm supposed to go forward. So all I know is if I make space and listen and get quiet and ask the question, then it'll probably come around, right?
Yeah. And I think looking at like the winning goals as different helps a lot. Like, what is winning? I suck. I'm using the word winning, but that has to change. I feel like, what does success look like? These are probably really old words too, but I have defined success for me differently. Born out of similar things, like, I did a whole record and didn't get I guess if I looked at it this way, didn't get the response I thought I would, but I also did it, like the promoting of it, very different as I wished. And so there's a bunch that you kind of can't be surprised by and makes sense for me at my age. So all of that's kind of good. But at the same time, I've had really aggressive lessons with people that I took as lessons. And when I walked away, when it was really intense, so I've had a couple experiences where it wasn't friendly and it wasn't nice at all. And in the moment, I definitely was having natural feelings of like implosion or I'm invisible and, you know, all the human things. But I had also a moment where I stopped and I said, okay, or what are we going to do? Are we imploding? Is that what we're going to do? Like, because you kind of don't, it's a beautiful space, I guess, to not have a choice, because something will come out of it. And you're right about getting quiet and listening for your own answer. But also there's lots of learning in the listening, right? Like I walked out of that going, well, what I do know, cause I was like, what do I know is true? And I was like, well, I do know that I can write, record, play live for the rest of my life without anyone's permission or anyone getting in the way. I can do that, right? Like I'm not in control if somebody plays it on the radio. But I am in control of all of that forever. And I was kind of good with that. I was like, okay, good. And I still feel like the individual journey is really important, privileged or not, you know what I mean? Like we're human beings as well, not negating what's going on, because it is real and good and all of that. But I have the same things as a white woman, privileged white woman. Being quiet and thinking, reading, learning, which is my responsibility. And then giving myself some time to believing in intuition, right? Like intuition regardless doesn't go away. And I feel like I'm open to learning and honoring what comes to me or comes from wherever, to hear what my next step is, because that's my intent. I want to do something good as well and helpful. But I'm okay with my silence and learning. And then I can do something. Maybe it's just being the deep artist that I can be, you know, and then partnering with others and as maybe asked, not foisting it upon people, but like, I don't know, there's a lot. I like what you said about there's the listening for the moment. That's, you know, that gives you the answer for something that's bigger than you, right? Bigger than all of us, bigger than all of this, that tells you something, right? Like you don't.
And staying connected to others, right? Not like on social media all day, but like reaching out to organizations or people and being like, I'm going to help or whatever. I have something to offer.
Well, and this is so much bigger than like, don't you feel like this is so much bigger than like, where am I in the music scene? Like that just makes me go, now I think of that and I just go, who cares? Like there's a revolution going on, like humanity, around humanity and people. Who cares about whether or not KEXP is playing my music? You know, like what do I care? Like lives are changing. That feels, I check myself with any pettiness like that, you know, or I was like, that seems silly.
Because we can always find something. There's some proof that somebody doesn't like us somewhere. There's, you know.
Oh yeah. And that's not really the, you know, when you want to be a part of like deeper human change, then wouldn't you want to care about that more than like, did somebody put me in the paper or, you know, all the other channels, scene channels, those seem really, it would make me feel like I was being silly.
Well, I don't know about you, but when I think about my biggest dreams, which I've shared with you before, like what would the, you know, greatest, wildest success with music for me? It does involve huge groups of people and huge crowds of people. But it's about healing at the end of it. It's about, you know, I mean, music does this already. This is nothing new, right? But like my place in this is like encouraging people to make sound and to embrace sound in order to transform and heal. That's what I'm here to do. And I obviously want it to be able to, you know, do it with as many people as possible, because I believe that if enough people were making the same sound at the same time around the planet, we would shift, right? We would
Right.
way more effortlessly shift than we are right now.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like too, with the conversations you and I have had, like around coaching and all that, I've had some clients around, and I believe like I'm attracting people who want to talk about creativity, and I'm really enjoying that. And there's so much self-doubt with folks, anybody in creativity. And I'm finding such passion around helping people see themselves of value, that they are of value, and the stories they want to tell are of value. They will have a place, and just the importance of that, and dispelling stories that we tell ourselves and self-criticism, or, someone will say, oh, I can't do that because of this. And I'm like, that's a story you're telling yourself. And then really take a moment and say, do you really believe that? And that to me is getting them to connect to their heart and their intuition, right? So I'm a big proponent of like, let's move from utilizing our heads and move to the heart, which is a real tool as well. Maybe the less respected one, but I think the most important one, that's where I think decisions are made, because we all know how to function or do a good job or do the things. But I think a renegade thing to do is to build your intuitive muscle.
Oh my God, I saw a poster or a sign at the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone yesterday that said your heart is the same size as your fist.
Ooh.
Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Isn't that good?
That is good.
That is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you were talking too about, this current time too. And like, when we all went into shelter in place too, like I backed out of all social media. For me, I had a really gut feeling that I was like, the time has come for isolation. Like I really needed isolation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been very good for me, because I've needed some quiet time, more time with my family, a return to me kind of timing, and just meditating wide open, like going, what?
Mm-hmm.
What do we like? What do we, just revisiting like my values or my loves, or trying to remember what I love. And then letting go, doing a lot of letting go. And consequently being able to find appreciation, you know what I mean? And contentment. Like, oh, I have a good life. Like, really?
Mm-hmm.
Being with I didn't realize like I was, working in Seattle. I live in Tacoma, T-Town.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't really realized the toll that that commute was taking on my family. And now we've been with each other every day for months, and I love it. And it's just the time together. I mean, we've had our own, but we've had struggles because we've had the time to like talk about the thing that we were struggling with. And I'm realizing I don't know that I can ever go back.
Mm-hmm.
I like being with them. I like being here. I like a simpler life like this. There's a lot of pleasure in eliminating the distractions and the time sucks.
Mm-hmm.
That's so beautiful. It's such a beautiful bridge to that part of yourself you described earlier back in Minneapolis, doing the dishes or whatever, and being like, where am I? Is this my life? And you're like, yeah, this is my life.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you. Yeah. It's been really pleasurable just to be like, I'm actually pretty good. Like I am so grateful that I mean, if I look back, I'm like, look at how different your life is. I say to myself, and I'm so happy, but it takes stopping, like we used to like stopping and being quiet and thinking about it. I was like, I'm pretty good. I like my family. My husband and my son, our little house. I actually have I have a circle of girlfriends. Like I never had that. Like I have friends that I like. I get to play music. You and I have the same producer, Steve, our sweet Steve Fisk. And I was like, I'm good. Like I just, it's been a long time. It's been a long time coming. Building and putting energy into building a life that is good for me. And so, yeah, I guess during this time, with all the time that we have on our hands silently, I've just gotten to have that revelation like, oh, well, I mean, I love this podcast. Like I get to do it with Brian. I get to talk, I'm like, I got it pretty good. I don't know. Like, and there's more to come.
I mean, it's a good realization. It's like, you're like, this, everything is going fine despite the challenges of the world and the revolution that's happening. It's like, this is a good life still.
Well, and the revolution is good, right? Like people are, people get afraid of anger or whatever, but I'm like, has to happen. Mm-hmm. You got to get to, you have to get to truth.
The song that I just put out, 2 days ago, June 12th. I Don't Remember Me. It was written in my basement late one night where I was like playing with two chords, and I was trying, and I had been for maybe a couple of weeks with my husband and in therapy and all the ways, like trying to deal with something from my past. And like, I just couldn't get there. I couldn't look at it or whatever. And something about that night, I was in the basement and I was playing these chords over and over. And then my husband came downstairs, and it doesn't always work this way, even though he and I have collaborated many times and are great, like creative allies, partners. Usually I don't do things with him. Like I don't compose songs with other people necessarily, but that song was absolutely composed while I was exploring my depths and going into my childhood shit while my husband was watching.
Wow.
And that experience of like having the courage to show myself to my partner, who it is the easiest to treat like shit. Right. And like, and to, have enough compassion for myself to go there and see the truth, then allowed me to have a new level of compassion for where I'm at, allows my husband to see me more clearly. And then I was like, well, that's the best thing I could offer anybody who listens to my music, is like, if we love ourselves, if we can, like you already said this, like if we could take the time and be okay with who we are and really be honest with who we are and how precious we are, then we could shine that outward and we could change the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And especially now where, I don't know about you, but I'm, as a white person, I'm terrified I'm going to say the wrong thing. I got, like I want to make sure. It's really easy to punish myself and go, oh, you fucked that up, or God, you should be more this, or look at that person, they're doing this. And it's like, no, if I can't be my own best friend first and know that I'm not perfect, I have humility, I have a lot to learn. It's okay if I fuck up. I will pick myself up again, and I will admit it. And, I will stand up for myself.
Yeah. Because self-hatred isn't going to serve anybody, right? Like they need you. I mean, we all need good people, and good people they don't come to fruition from beating the shit out of themselves. Right? You're just tearing ourselves down. Yeah. Yeah. But that's huge. Sharing in a partnership moment, that vulnerable moment is a huge share. You said earlier, and maybe we've talked about this, but did we both grow up kind of going, yeah, I didn't sing and I didn't share what I did with my family?
Correct.
And whenever, because my family, my mom married my stepdad, and he had 3 kids, and they had come out of, I know they had come out of something really rough and awful. And so it wasn't like everybody was fine, but it was also a lot of teasing as a way to communicate, right? And so when it's nonstop teasing, I'm certainly not going to, and I'm 11 or something going, I think I'd like to try singing. That's not an audience I'm going to open my soft belly to. And so I never sang in front of my family. They'd all leave and I'd put on a Barbra Streisand record and sing along, but never in front of them. I did choir. They might've seen that, but it wasn't like, okay, so for instance, you'll love this, Julia. Oh my God. So the difference between my family then and my family now with Orion, like I am proud. I'm not going to take credit, but I'm going to take a little credit. I love that Orion has no problem just we'll hear him alone in his room, just like belting a song out, like, don't get, like, just, and he's not afraid. Like, he's not afraid to sing in this house. Balls out, just like singing some song in the shower. One, I envy his joy.
Yes.
Like when he's in a joy mode where I was like, oh, what's that feel like? Like, I'm not getting up this morning feeling like, yeah. He is though. And I'm like, oh, what's that feel like? Like, I miss being a kid, but I'm also really proud that he feels safe enough in this house that he can vocally express himself. Cause that's a vulnerable, don't you think, like, singing can feel very vulnerable?
Oh my God. Yeah. I have a lot of, that's amazing. First of all, that says you're doing something right.
That's okay. Thanks.
Yeah. And I experienced similar with my 10-year-old daughter, who is very, very comfortable because she's been encouraged to be who she is. But, like, I didn't get that. I got in some ways, like, I had a mom who, like, went to school for music, but kind of never did anything with it. And so, like, I got all kinds of super subtle microaggressions that I didn't really like understand until later in life. That was like, why can't I learn how to do this music? Because something tells me that I'm not good enough and I'll never learn, whatever. But I was like, oh my God, how do I not pass this on to my child? Right.
Yeah. Well, you must have been like your mom's worst nightmare because she went and studied and you do it naturally. Like, that's got to be the biggest burn on somebody who's like, oh, you work so hard. And now look at your daughter who's just like brimming with like natural talent and doesn't have to study at all. Or why should she?
and I like that. I've never, ever seen it that way before, but I'm going to chuckle on that one for a while.
Yeah, right? Like, that's got to be the biggest, like, oh, yeah, you bent yourself over backwards and beat yourself up, and she's just doing it by nature. I think I've had family like that too, who's just sort of like, what? Because we don't think about it that way, right? It's a natural state of expression. I don't think I've never thought about it like, I better be good. I like being good. I strive for being good, but not out of some competition to beat the crap out of myself, or I'm interested.
No, it's so enjoyable, right? It's so fun to sing. It feels like second nature. It's like what our bodies were made to do. And that and love.
Yes.
I'm such a hippie.
I know, but I love that about you. You're a love child. Your energy is Crystal Diamond Love. That should be your new band.
Perfect.
Right? Well, I also think, how lucky are we that we have learned how to express ourselves that way? Because I certainly don't do that anywhere else in my life, right? Like especially if you go to work, right? That always been a little chagrin for me to be like, when I was working more than doing music, I was like, well, where in my life do I get a balls out, like scream, yell, or sing out of my express myself that way? I'm doing way more corporate speak. Which is really confining and twisting and wrong. So now if I listen to stuff, I'm like, oh, I like a dancer, I would imagine, or somebody like, I'm glad that I know how to do that. And I need to do things like that, express myself.
I think with any art, as you get really good at it, like, cause you do it a lot, it just becomes another form of communications. Like you kind of like, I need to do this cause this is how I emote myself to the world, or even to myself.
Last night I had a hard time last night with my head. I was really hard time focusing. And so oftentimes that means I go to the backyard and make a fire in the fire pit. And thankfully it wasn't raining. So I made a fire, and, I don't know. Short story is I started kind of writing a song as I was like making the fire, and I was like, oh, it's like, oh, the drug is kicking in. I was like, oh, I'm making sense of the world. I've got 2 rhyming lines, and I'm welcoming more. And like, it's just like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I know you know what I mean, Carrie.
Yes. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
It's coming. Right? Like, it's coming out. Yay. You know what I mean? It's such a cool, it's fun. It's supposed to be fun.
That's right.
Well, it's neat, right? I guess it's neat. Like, I love the word neat and I hate the word neat, but sometimes you're like, it's just neat, like, to be able to have an idea come to you at all. Like, if somebody, like, Ryan was saying, if you're a painter or writer or whatever, like when the ideas aren't coming, that's when you get scared. You're sort of like, but I don't think humans only get in a way of themselves, right? Like I think we're natural vessels of ideas. Mm-hmm. We just have to get the hell out of the way.
Yeah, I think we're our worst enemies a lot of the time. I know I am. There's all that self-doubt all the time,
Yeah. Well, and we have these messed up timelines too of like when we ought to be doing things or whatever, which is not helpful at all either. But Julie, I wanted to ask you too, like, it was really fun to, I guess, what did you think of this? Like, so I got to come into the studio one day.
It was so rad.
It was really fun for me too. And I got to sing on your record, and thank you for offering that. It was really fun to sing with you and a couple other gals as well, which I that's one of the kind of things I like to do, like kind of a choir background. Mm-hmm. But did you, cause we did so much talking about practicing, almost going, well, what do you think? I thought maybe I made your guitar player mad, like, because I was so fixated on you getting to say what you think and like whatever, that there's always a group dynamic. Like, I've been in bands long enough too, where natural leaders can just have a lot of ideas and it seems like taking over, but they're not. They're just natural leaders. But I was so focused on Julia just being like, well, what do you think? Like anyone else could have an idea in the room. And I was like, what is your idea? What do you think? But it seems to me like you totally had the experience where you're like, no, I said what I wanted to say, and it was recorded and we had the ideas, and you were surrounded by amazing musicians. And did you feel like did you feel like it was different? Like that you were like, oh yeah, I got to have that experience where I was like, no, I see my vision.
Yes, I did. I absolutely did. And thank you for what you contributed to that. It was, it's like the best possible scenario to have somebody being, what do you think? Are you happy?
I get really bulldoggy. I know. I was a little worried because then I get really passionate about it, but I get a little bulldoggy too. Like, you quiet. What does she think? Like,
well,
someone be like, who's
that
bitch?
It was like, it was you and Rebecca Young and Elisa Newhall came in, and suddenly there was like all this woman energy. Even though Rebecca Young was playing bass, she was already there, but there was an influx of female energy. And like you said, the energy changed and shifted, and some, I think we were around the microphone, and I was like, whatever, giving notes. And I said something like, I want you to sing from your vagina or something like that. And, and then you said like, oh, this might take a while or something like that. And after you left, and after all the rest of the ladies left, Steve's manager, Skin, he goes, who's an awesome guy. He goes, oh man, that was the best thing. Come here, you got to hear this. And he played back. He had recorded on his phone just that, me going, sing from your vagina. And you going, this might take a while. And it was just like,
he's awesome. Yeah.
He just like acknowledged that, like, wow, the female power took over the room and how awesome it was. And I was like, God damn, that's cool that we had, that feels like probably a rare moment in rock and roll circles of like women talking about singing from their vaginas and making a rock and roll record. I don't know.
We're acknowledging how powerful it feels to be a woman, not weak, not less. Like, if you know Naja Monique and Dell from Mirror Gloss.
Oh yes.
Who I love a lot. Dell reached out to me, and they were very kindly wanting to do an interview with me. And I remember Dell sent me some questions. One of them was, I think, like, if you could be a superhero, who would it be? And I was like, well, it would be a woman character, because I like being a woman. I like the woman character. I find like the female body sexy and powerful, and the way it can move, the sounds that women make, singing or whatever. I like being a goddess, I guess, for not necessarily the word, but like a Valkyrie, whatever. I find women powerful, and I like the sound of voices. It's been interesting because I think they are powerful. It's been interesting through the years of playing in rock bands. I think sometimes male audiences along the way didn't know what to do with that, but I don't think they were against it. I think they were just confused. Like, wait, why do I like this? Like, I prefer usually a male fronted band, and it's all men, and that's powerful. But I can't tell you the amount of times I would say Hammerbox or Goodness would get done playing, and they're, in some pretty conservative places, and there'd be some guy who's like, I don't know why, but I love your singing. Like, he just was like, I never listened to women. I had that said to me a lot. I never listened to women, but you, yes, or whatever. And I was like, well, you got to open your mind. Like, there's a lot of powerful female voices, and a female voice can tone, and all of it could be just as exciting or powerful or whatever he was resonating with.
It was the way it was framed, and it was, that's really cool. You opened his mind. That's your goal. I mean, that's your job, right?
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
help people expand. So bravo, you.
Oh, thank you. I'm sure I didn't know what the hell was going on. I just was like, okay. Happy to get out of here alive. Plenty of other bad things would go on. So that's somebody, it was so funny. Like often when I don't know if you ever get this in interviews, being asked to tell like your female victim story, like, wasn't it hard during the times of blah, blah, blah. And I'm always pretty adamant at going, yeah, I don't got that for you. Like, I'm not, well, maybe I'm lucky, but I was like, no, I'm not giving you a victim story. I'm not giving you the, like, it was really hard for me. It was like, actually, no. I mean, there's always a dick out there somewhere. You know what I mean? Like some jerk or whatever. Everybody experiences that. But I got to say, I could count on one hand, and probably lucky, out of respect for people who have experienced terrible things. I could count on one hand probably the amount of times some guy was just outwardly, what are you doing here? Only band come. You know what I mean? Like just an outward, probably some record label people and some seriously conservative people in Virginia at a show who are talking, like, again, crowd mob mentality. But anyways, do you ever get that? Do you ever feel like you're being asked to tell some diminished story about yourself?
Yeah, I think I'm similar to you. I don't see myself that way. I see myself as fortunate, and also have always used the tactic of like the Jedi, like, these are not the droids you're looking for. Like if somebody's coming at me with either like too much affection or the wrong kind, I'm just like, I do not see you, and I'm walking away. I will not engage with you. Yeah. And I avoid, which is not always a great thing, but I don't really want to think about that. I would rather talk about the good things, I mean, the powerful things, and especially the powerful things yet to come. Yeah.
Well, if there's more powerful language out there rather than diminishing language, I think that's good. Like, I just want to spend time talking about, like, here's why that artist is amazing, or the work that she's doing, not because she's a female, but like this artist does this, or do I mind like saying like, oh, these female artists and things like that, but not to like lump people into a circle. I want to specifically talk about their artistry, everybody's individuals. I still really want to do a show with a cadre of women. We had kind of talked about it, our friend Heather Reynosa's house, that gets to, and I haven't figured out how to choreograph it or curate it so that the room itself lends itself to appreciating the artists. I can't tell if it's the room, the invite, or how you describe what fans would be coming to see. But I would love to shed a story on a circle of women as like, this is storytellers. You're coming to a story night, like, and there's wisdom in the room, and these artists have created works to share that, and that's what you're seeing or hearing, and that's what you'll have bought a ticket to come see. So you better, know that. Not like a threat, not like you better know that, but
you better not enjoy it too much. You better listen.
I got real bitchy right there. Sorry. I'm like, I mean it in terms of like, I just really want us to shape an evening to showcase and share with that vision on it. And I'm always kind of curious about how you make an evening like that, not only for the audience, but also for the artists. Again, like communing with not just like, oh, I gathered a bunch of people, we played a show. That's, people can pass in the night like that without the deeper experience of saying like I've even thought, oh, Julie, you might love this too. Like I thought about having the evening, have a meeting, literally like a meeting before I put the whole show together, to just then invite the women to play and say like, this is the purpose of this evening. How do you feel about it? Like, I want it to be more time spent so that all the women that are there understand as well, this is what's being created here and why you're here sharing and who you are. At least in my eyes, like you're an artist, like this is a curated artist evening. You are an artist, like without being overbearing or like, okay, Carrie, give it a rest. Like, but I really would love to provide that. And sometimes I don't even think people know they need that because we're so isolated. I find a lot of people are isolated. Like I'll be like, hey, you want to do something? People are like, oh yeah, I'm really busy. I got to go. And I'm like, oh, we could have a deeper, richer experience right here.
Totally. I don't know why this is popping in my head. It might seem random, but it's connected. My daughter is obsessed. She's 10 with this musical that's called Six. Have you ever heard of Six?
No. Am I right down?
Well, it was supposed to premiere on Broadway in, I think, March, but obviously.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's the Six Wives of Henry VIII.
Ooh.
And it's a pop music show. And the premise is that they have come together to basically compete for who had it hardest with Henry.
Really? Wow.
And so they each have their own song where they tell their story. And then there's a number of songs where, from the beginning, all like against each other, but by the end of it, they have all realized that they all had the same shitty experience. And now because they've listened to each other, they feel more powerful and blah, 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 blah. But it's really awesome
I love
musical. That. And a great concept of bringing together people who maybe didn't necessarily see that happening. Right.
Yeah.
But finding that common thing and then learning from each other.
Well, and potentially there's all this wisdom in the room that isn't getting shared just because show nights aren't like that or nobody knows each other. And I want deeper exchanges, I guess. Potentially, again, not everybody has to be best friends, but wouldn't it be nice to create a circle? I don't know, like create a knowledge base or a connection in some way to elevate everyone's work, even in their own minds, so that they're not reducing or beating themselves up, but to elevate, this is what we are. Not just like, I'm in a band. Yeah.
Exactly. You need like a co-op of artists to say, we're going to get together, have a little fireside chat, be creative, and then go perform maybe together,
Yeah, just to share the intent or the philosophy or the idea behind it. And again, I don't know everybody that well, but I was like, just to toss it out there one night and see if it doesn't do something for folks. But it's those deeper connections and deeper look at what we do that I'm craving. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, we need it. We do need it. It's a great model for what everybody needs to be doing. And I would imagine that in this group of women, there are lots of things that we don't all agree on, and there are some hostilities and things. And let's talk about race for a minute. Like, here's something I woke up to this week. I thought, well, it's women. Like, there's the experience of being Black. And then there's the experience of being oppressed for being a Black person. And then there's the experience of being oppressed as a woman. And I had this assumption that, well, all women could agree that oppression is something that we all could share or could get around. But I've been learning this week that there are many Black women who actually consider themselves Black before they consider themselves women, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, if we're going to bring a diverse group of women together, there's also, I think, got to be space for some super uncomfortable exchanges, right? And but that's the work, right? Like we work out this ancestral shit together, and we're willing to go into that space where we get vulnerable and, you know, we open ourselves.
Yeah, because I feel like I can offer myself and take responsibility for myself and present myself with awareness and sit with whatever reaction someone needs to have or share, and then not partner with me. And I will honor that as well. Like, it's not for me to say, but I will offer my authentic person and educate myself and have an understanding. But I know that I can do just that. I can offer. And then if someone feels like it's okay for them or wherever they're at to say like, yeah, we could do this. And I'm like, okay, then we go do this together. But so it feels like a light touch, but a respectful touch, right? Because I don't feel like there's the thing I'm supposed to say. I mean, I can say I'm aware, and I'm I will take care of that, and I will learn, and I see and I acknowledge, but there's not going to be anything I say that's like, I know, but I don't know. I mean, that just makes me feel like an idiot right away. But it is a sort of like respectfully understood, like, should you want to partner with me? I, of course, would love it. And if you don't, I respect that as well. And that's all I can do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
For that one particular scenario. So we will see, but it's the opportunity. It's the moment of tension. It's the moment of acknowledgement. I feel like it's the moment of honoring. And then whether or not something happens beyond that particular moment of the conversation is not my control. You know what I mean? Like, not unknown. Just like a relationship, just like a partnership. I can partner with someone and love them, but what it works for them, or their history, or how they, it's like a dance. It's like a partnership. What is comfortable for them, or what they're ready for, what they've experienced, I'm not really in control of. I can educate myself, right? I can open my mind. I mean, I do that. I feel like in a relationship now where I'm like, I come with my burdens and my defenses and that aren't the right thing to do. You know what I mean? And I'm getting educated on how it is for someone else, which has been like a paradigm shift. Like, oh, I'm looking at it this way, but that's not how it is for this person. Yeah. And so my viewpoint is a moot point, this is theirs.
It's interesting. It's like the format that you're describing for this night of, this event of singer-songwriters. It shares structure with like 12-step, right? Like,
exactly. That's what I was thinking. I was like, it sounds very.
Oh,
I was like, this sounds familiar. Like group
like,
therapy, 12-step. Yeah.
It's a model that
nice.
For whatever you think about 12-step. It's a model that works in terms of people being able to listen to each other and be heard, right? Like the idea that everybody has their time to represent themselves and everybody else has to listen. Like, that's such a powerful.
Yeah. I'm not in control of the person. I'm in control of myself. Right.
Yeah.
Or
like passing the peace pipe or something. I mean, as another like analogy, like everybody has their time to declare. And
it's, it's interesting. I'm still, like, I'm just sort of like, oh, do I, you have that knee jerk, like, oh, I'm going to rush out and conversate. And I was like, well, that just seems kind of not authentic or not right. You know what I mean? Like, why would you? Mm-hmm. And so I'm trying to have these authentic moments. Some of it's like, I'm not reaching out. Like, don't start acting weird or not normal just because now, you know what I mean? Like, that's not right either. So we shall see. I still want to have that night, but when we can all gather around without putting everyone in jeopardy due to COVID, is going to be a ways off. Mm-hmm. And that I think that there are there's massively more important things than me trying to put on a show right now. But I just think I think it's very exciting times. It's a hot mess time, but that's where the things need to go.
I love it. I love your vision, your ongoing vision to collect a group of artist women together to share their stories and their process. That's good for everybody.
I hope so. Well, love, thank you so much for coming and talking with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I can't believe how enjoyable this has been.
Oh, good. I'm really glad. That's great to hear. Yeah. I find you very powerful, and I love the music that you're making. I love seeing you be happy about the process too, even when you're like, what the hell? That's really cool. Your happiness means more work from you, and that's a good thing.
Thank you. Well, going around, another time around the wheel, right? With more context and more gratitude.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to put links to like your site and where folks can find your music, and maybe even some of the books and things that we've talked about today. But I just love you to death. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I love you too, Carrie. Ryan, it's such a pleasure to meet you. Thank you.
It was very nice to meet you as well.
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
You guys be well.
Thanks for listening.
You too. Take care.